Asher's in New York, though. I'm here in San Francisco. And we are going to be telling the same story from our different perspectives, simulcasted into each other's shows.
What's going on with the tech stuff? Like, what could go wrong?
Everything.
So Asher approached me 6 months ago when I was in this room, and he pitched me this idea, and now 6 months later, here we are. We're about to do it. It's only art if it has the potential to be a complete disaster.
Yeah, there you go. That's kind of what this show is like.
So we're going to be picking up different points, we're going to be interweaving, we're going to be jumping around a lot with time and plot.
There's a lot of room for error.
There's a fair amount of room for error, yeah.
It's nerve-wracking. I'm really tired. I'm really scared, but I'm excited.
What happens if he doesn't answer?
I'll do the whole goddamn show myself.
But the idea is that we found a holy moment in Israel, a moment where we could just be ourselves and be at peace with ourselves. And it's a lot of the story of the genesis of our friendship. Really, that's what it comes down to, is us finding kind of our friendship and ourselves.
The holy moment.
In my mind, I'm wrong.
In my mind, I'm good.
Always and forever.
I've always been comfortable around chaos.
I've never had the instinct inside myself that I was inherently right.
I've never really known what that says about me.
I could be wrong, right? That's always a possibility. Why am I stuck in the mindset of being wrong about everything? Spread out on the sand in the middle of the Negev desert, I asked myself this question. And within the asking, I came to the conclusion that I was never going to be a Jew again after this trip. This was it. Smash a bottle of kosher wine on my hull, set me out to the Dead Sea. Oh, motherfuckers. Apartments are done and over, the money spent, 10 years of religious school come and gone, and all I can say in Hebrew is guitar and sweater, which is pronounced guitar and better.
Actually, Jake, that's actually not how you say those words. It's almost like you're a Jew from, I don't know, like
Utah or something.
Home is Salt Lake City, where being a Jew is like being a Mormon almost anywhere else. I hated my hometown because it made me feel wrong. Wrong holidays, wrong customs, and wrong looks, because let's face it, I'm the most Aryan-looking Jew you'll ever find. This means I've never felt accepted anywhere, but least of all in the meccas of Utah and Israel. But there I was, in a natural wasteland within a barely existing country, in a barren landscape extending out into the starry abyss. I was supposed to be having a spiritual moment, but I think I was doing it wrong. This was my birthright trip, my last hurrah with Judaism. We were ending a 7th-day pilgrimage by camping with native Bedouins for the night, before riding camels to Masada the next day. At this point, I wasn't upset like I had been at the beginning of the trip, and I wasn't happy like I was in the midway point. I was having a moment of feeling absolutely nothing. A black hole. I'm wrong. Again. Only this time it's about everything.
I don't always look around me. I don't always look out for myself. And sometimes I need help. I need help determining when to trust people around me, when to ask for help. I need help knowing when to trust myself. I've been told that one of the best attributes that I have is my ability to maintain tunnel vision. My ability to maintain focus through the mayhem that life throws at you and keep focused on whatever is in front of me. And it's true, I do that really well, but I don't always know what it is that I'm looking at, which can be one of my biggest weaknesses. When I'm feeling particularly stressed out about something, I watch action movies like Con Air and Face Off.
Or The X-Files.
These forms of entertainment, they relax me, which I'm sure is weird, but it's true.
The Wire, Breaking Bad, True Detective.
So in 2007, I thought I was in love with a girl.
Why were you so hung up on this girl, Asher?
So this girl that I was dating,
Oh, side note, right before this very same trip, this girl asked me if I was interested in her.
So maybe dating is a little strong.
Or to put a finer point on things, she told me I should have asked her out. But whoops, oh well, it was too late. She was moving on
to a prestigious program and graduating early. So I guess you missed your chance, what she told me, and walked away, and I never saw her again after that.
It's you know, so it's like, you know, when you really like someone and you tell them that you like them and they say that it's just not a really good time, but they still keep you around for emotional support / abuse and help them get through a really hard time and still go out and see each other all the time, and she goes out with other guys and then she feels really guilty about it. She tells you that and you say, well, it's really easy to solve that, just stop seeing other guys, but she doesn't. And then when you see other girls, she gets really upset.
You can do better, Asher.
Or no, it's more like when she wants you to bring over some dinner from your apartment in the West Village to hers on 13th and 1st, which,
For the record, is a pretty long way away.
you have to get there and walk up her 6-flight walk-up, which, while the record is open, you helped carry her mattress up 3 flights of because the movers wouldn't, and then you stay in and you eat dinner and then you leave because she was tired.
Come on, man, you're killing us out here.
You're telling me, Jake. So, right, so like I said, I was dating this girl.
Yeah, okay, good.
So I was dating this girl my junior year, and it wasn't going great.
I take a fair amount of blame for it. I mean, I was 20 and I was an idiot, but at some point I needed a friend to step in and say, hey, Asher, you're being an idiot.
Hey, Asher, you're being an idiot.
A lot of good that does me now, Jake. Jerk. At the time, all of my friends happened to be busy with their own sorts of things that I also happened to be caught in the middle of.
The impulse was inside me to move. Be Moses. Wander into the desert until I saw my God, or some kind of God in the burning bush of a nuclear reactor, which the Israeli people denied having, so even they had more sense of a self-righteousness than I did. I told myself to live up to my namesake, to wrestle with an angel I so wanted to be in real life. The angel was the devil inside my own head and heart, which doesn't make a lot of sense because Jews don't really believe in hell or the devil.
The map of my friend fucking. Let's see if you can keep up. So, Sushi had just broken up with Brandon, who was my roommate and the first friend that I ever made in college. And I was determined to stay friends with her and Brandon, which would have been hard enough had she not started sleeping with my friend Christophe. Christophe, who had just moved up to New York with Alex, who really wanted to date Teresa, who had just broken up with Sam, so she was going through her own stuff.
And Alex at the time was dating Sarah, but not the Sarah that he ended up marrying.
That Sarah at the time was dating our friend John, but it's okay because that was also really weird, but now John's engaged to Jen, who thankfully none of us knew beforehand. Matt had also started dating Lark, and before they even started dating, Matt talked to me about it, and then when their relationship was on the rocks, Lark talked to me about it, and then they eventually split up, and Matt is now engaged to Teresa, and Lark lives in Portland. So, in the middle of all of this was me. Late night drinks, early morning coffees, phone calls, sorting through he said, she said, and at no point did anyone ever just say, hey Asher, how are things with you?
Hey, Asher. How are things with you?
I'm actually...
No! You goddamn self-pitying coward! Stop doing everything right! Stop thinking everything right you do is wrong. It's right and wrong, and so are you. Stop being the noble son, the wise student, the good guy. They think you're nice. How vanilla bean flavored are you? Stop playing your life safe like there's some grand prize to win for staying completely out of debt, graduating with honors, marrying the first woman who smiles at you from across the room, going to Shabbat services every weekend, knowing the prayers by heart, and sticking up for a tribe of people who've all but cast you out. Be the wandering Jew. Question everything. Be your grandfather. Abandon them all. Seek something, find nothing, and stay swallowed in the subliminating ether of your self-doubt. Strip naked and eat out the pussy of a god you feel worthy of getting on your knees for. Jew the Jews and Shema your own Yisrael. That's what your namesake evolves into, right? Yisrael, the wrestler of angels, demons, parents, siblings, trophies, honors, accolades, grades, obesity, sex, diabetes, alcoholism, PTSD, anxiety, depression, success, money, faith, isolation, and the fear of losing all to nothing for something greater than yourself. Run out into that desert and have a spiritual experience.
And there I was, the good friend, surrounded and alone, in the middle holding everything up. Jake, were you a good Jew?
Yofi.
Yofi.
Yofi!
Yofi! 1,000 times Yofi!
Yofi!
Be wrong.
Be good.
Do it wrong.
Do it right.
Everything in your life, it could all change with one step into that desert. Of course, I was in the desert, screaming all of these things internally at myself. I took one step, realized it was me we were talking about here, and returned to the Bedouins' camp to see if I could find Asher.
Oh, Jake, I'm right here.
Go draw a map, Asher.
The only solace that I could really take while I was in the middle of this hurricane that was my life was knowing that at the end of that semester, after Brandon and I would part ways for obvious reasons, after I would try and distance myself from that girl as much as I knew how to, I would have this 10-day birthright trip where I would know no one on the trip other than Jake, who, if you were paying attention, was not on that map, which was probably the best thing that I could have asked for at that time. Someone who wasn't involved in the craziness that was my life, and 10 days in a foreign country where I didn't know everything and I didn't know everyone. When I was in 4th grade, my teacher, Mrs. Kaplan, taught me how to write a paragraph. She taught me how to write an essay. She taught me about the history of the city of Baltimore, which growing up in Silver Spring, Maryland, I guess is important. She also taught me what trust really meant, or at least she thought she did. There were basically 3 options of private Jewish schools in Silver Spring. There was the uber-religious one, the Hebrew Academy. There was the Jewish Day School, which was the less Jewy, more preppy one. And then there was the Hebrew Day Institute.
One question I've always wondered about my birthright trip is why Israel and a significant number of Jewish American institutions would lavish money on sending teenagers and early 20-somethings to a war-torn country halfway across the world to get banged by Israeli soldiers. The answer is very simple. Keeping it the faith. They want you to meet other young Jews, fall in love,
Get married, pump out a couple of good kids to bolster the tribe's ever-dwindling numbers. In fact, if you meet your future spouse while on birthright, Israel will cover all of your expenses back to Israel for your honeymoon.
2 of our people from our particular birthright trip got married. They did the whole Megillah and got divorced in under 3 years. So, yeah, let's say it works. Or at the very least, birthright works you.
I went to the Hebrew Day Institute, which was the smaller, more homey alternative. The classes were small. There were about 10 kids per class. And I went there, I guess, because my parents liked the smaller, more intimate setting. The religion there wasn't forced on you. It wasn't overbearing. And they liked that. I liked my Judaism because it wasn't forced on me. Hey, Jake, you know when you think you're in love?
And your dick ruins everything, Asher? Or is that just me and my dick?
No, I totally get. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
And you would do anything for that person, right? Including just sort of let her walk all over you and use you and not reciprocate and generally treat you like a terrible person.
There was fucking in the room next door. The headboard banging against the very space shared by my headboard in my room. The orgasmic screams of girls from our bus who always sit back. My parents have always wanted me to meet a nice Jewish girl whose father was loaded like a stuffed crust pizza, which is odd. My mother isn't Jewish and never converted officially to Judaism, which makes me technically not a Jew. Perhaps this is why I've never really been attracted to Jewish women. I mean, no offense. It's just I find myself going for the shiksas. Or, at the very least, that was my prerogative before birthright. And let me tell you, there were so many beautiful young women on our trip. There was Sarah and Andy and Samantha and Lena and other Sarah and Leah and Rachel and that other Sarah and
After, what did we call them?
Oh, the Jewadises?
Yeah, that's Jewish goddesses in case you missed it.
They're all so pretty.
And they were into us.
They were not into us, Jake.
These girls were definitely into us.
Jake, maybe this is why you didn't hook up with any of them.
Hey Asher, why don't you stop being such a cock block?
I think it's your cock that's doing the blocking, Jake. They were definitely not into us.
Look, they were definitely into us, okay?
Jake, do you not remember what happened?
Oh, like when the Israeli soldiers joined our convoy?
Yeah, and all these girls were definitely into these hulky, tall, pretty boy soldiers with their muscles and their accents and their stories about fighting for freedom in Israel, and, then there was us.
I don't remember these soldiers' names. I just remember that the male ones were gnarly looking dudes who thought they were hot shit, which instantly made all the girls on our bus swoon. And the female ones were gorgeous as hell and wanted nothing to do with us American boys. So, in other words, they were very Israeli.
Because the classes at my school were so small, we basically were friends with whoever was in our class. I was there from the very beginning, starting at kindergarten. And there were a handful of us who were there. We were sort of lifers, as it were. When someone new would come into our class, it wasn't like we were getting a classmate. It was like we were getting a new friend. And in 4th grade, this guy, Avi, joined our class. And for the life of me, I cannot remember his last name, but I know that it wasn't Avi Smith because we already had an Avi Smith. Avi was a bad boy. Avi rolled in on a motorcycle drinking bourbon and a leather jacket. I mean, the elementary school equivalent of that. He liked army things. He liked army books and army models. He liked war and violence. He didn't do his work, and he would read magazines during class. He was bad, and we were good. I paid attention in class. I prayed when we were supposed to pray. Avi was causing a ruckus. I didn't like it. I liked being good. I liked doing things right. Avi was a troublemaker. So when I started hearing about these rumors, this prank, this evil, malevolent prank that he was going to pull on Halloween, I believed every word of it.
Our first adventure with the Israeli soldiers was a hike a few miles outside the city of Haifa.
Okay, American. Who thinks they are strong enough to carry the water?
Ooh! Yeah, me! A task to demonstrate my boyish agility in hopes of turning the heads of all the women. My opportunity has arrived. The soldiers unloaded the water jug from the storage compartment on the bus, a gas tank-sized plastic canteen that they hooked on my back with twine. It would chafe my back for the next 3 hours during our excursion to some hidden waterfall in the hills up ahead, but I didn't mind. I was doing this for love.
This was their plan. Avi and Daniel Shirazi, they were going to go out on Halloween and pull fake guns and scare kids and steal their candy. Daniel, who was one of us who was there from the beginning, he was a lifer, one of the good kids. Avi had pulled Daniel into the dark side. They were going to go out and do something bad. This time it wasn't just going to be in school. I mean, it's one thing if you wanted to try and stay out after recess a little longer, or you were going to take the kickball away from the 3rd graders. This time, they were going to go out into the real world and be bad. I couldn't stand for it.
Is this doing it for you? First year sexy soldier Rivka who carries a rabbit foot on your bag? You are the most stunning woman I have ever seen. I love the way you walk away from me whenever we start a conversation. Have I redeemed myself, Ariella? You half-Persian Jewish-American princess, you. Thank you for asking me to run in the sprinklers of that kibbutz in our underwear the other night. I'm sorry my boxers were white, and I'm sorry my erection showed, and I'm sorry it didn't go away no matter how fast we ran along the slick mud. Neely, why are you looking at me? You snubbed me at that party back in New York. and have braces and aren't that pretty. I mean, you're pretty, but okay, you're beautiful, and I really like talking to you, and I should probably ask you out, but I've got Rivka and Ariella over here, and 8 gallons of water for the Israeli soldiers on my spine, so let's not right now, okay?
Nice job, American. You are a good, how you say, water bitch.
Acknowledgement! I'll take it. Maybe now I'm not just going to get a pretty girl, maybe now I can be one of the pretty boys. I mean, the only thing better than approval is inclusion, right? 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 Right?
For a couple of weeks, the rumors spread. They were really going to do it. I believed it. We all did. Danny, Justin, Vera, Philip. We had to do something. But what were we going to do? What could we do? What do you do when something is in trouble? Well, you call the police. So we devised a plan. A 4th grade plan that was way more intricately laid out than was necessary. One day after school, Vera and I would stay after because we usually waited for our parents to pick us up later. Then we would leave with an excuse to go to the gym to get a dodgeball, I think. Then we would go through the gym, across the building where there was a payphone that we knew would be there, and then I would make the call. I made the call. The 911 agent was very sweet, considering that this was, not an emergency at all, took down all the information we had, and we left feeling accomplished. Like we vanquished our enemies, like we saved the day. I felt like I stood up for the little guys. I felt like I was standing up for justice. I was right, Avi was wrong, and I helped save the children. The next day, our regularly scheduled lesson plan was put on hold. We had to take a break from listening about Lord Baltimore because apparently someone from the class had called the police on some other kids in the class. And this was apparently a very big deal. Mrs. Kaplan sat down, everyone in the class knowing what she was going to talk about. And the first thing out of her mouth was,
"So, who made the call?" The night after the hike was our introduction to Tel Aviv nightlife, which consisted of dance clubs on the beach blaring salsa and mambo music, 2 musical stylings Israelis loved circa 2007. Now, I've never been good in clubs or bars when it comes to hitting on someone, but this night was a particular bust. Rivka decided to stay at the hotel. Ariella was now flirting with the other Jake. And Neely wouldn't leave me alone, asking me to dance and do shots with her. And sure, we can keep talking, and yes, you can show me how to salsa, and okay, fine, let's go sit on the beach, discussing nothing and everything at the same time. I like you, Neely. I do, but I want those other girls to like me. I'm not sure why. You're such a good Jewish girl. No, you're a woman, but there's Sarah, and that other Sarah, and the third Sarah. And it's not that I want them, not really. I just want them to look at me the way you look at me. I want them to be fluent in Hebrew, retorting to the dirty old men in Tel Aviv who ask, "When's the wedding?" That we're already on our honeymoon in Israel. Damn, they got me.
the lesson began. Apparently, I was not right. You have to trust your friends, trust your neighbors. Why would I do such a thing to my friends? My friend, Daniel Shirazi, who I've known my entire life, which, granted, wasn't that long, but half of it was spent in this school with him.
How could I not go to my teachers, my parents, before going to the police? How could I think that they were going to do such a thing? Did I really believe that they were capable of doing what they were talking about?
Back at the hotel, I know I should kiss Neely, but I don't. I see my chance walk by, hoping she would make the first move, and the decision would be made for me. She stands there awkwardly, waiting for me to get the hint until too much time has passed and there is nothing else to do except say goodnight. Why does my dick keep thinking it has a shot with someone else? My dick is a real prick, and because of it, I've got no one in my bed save for Yoni, sawing logs on the pillow we're going to have to share that night. Oh, and naturally, there's the fucking next door. It's the Israeli soldiers. making Andy and 2 out of the 3 Sarahs moan, pant, sweat, drip, hum, and scream out in their raspy accents.
I
Love
America! I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was standing up and helping, but all I heard was how I needed to trust everyone around me, believe everyone around me. Mrs. Kaplan's lesson that day was how I should have stood up for my friends. Defend your friends. Work things out amidst the chaos and confusion with your friends, and don't jump to alarmist conclusions. But even as I was learning everything from Mrs. Kaplan, even when Vera was making me apologize to Avi and Daniel, and they were admitting that they shouldn't have spread around those rumors in the first place, even when I started to wonder who and what to trust, including myself, no one ever asked me how I was doing.
God and I broke up, but it's okay. We still follow each other on Twitter. Birthright was like one of those vacations that couples take to save their marriage. I was going home to see where God, according to who you talk to, grew up and became the deity we all know and love and can't agree on today. God started to throw some serious weight around before we even landed in Israel. Several old Hasidic Jews wandered up and down the aisle of the El Av 747, reciting the morning prayers, even though we'd left New York City at 11 p.m. and were arriving the next day in Israel at 4 p.m. It's like, I get it. We're in a holy Mecca.
It's a holy land, bro.
Oh, fine. Holy land, brosif.
Just be respectful when you're talking about Jerusalem.
Thanks, Lindsay Brohan.
You're a regular Abe Broham.
Can it, acclaimed Jewish pitcher Sandy Brofax?
When I got to the airport for the Israel trip, they divided us into 2 buses, and Jake and I were on separate buses, which at first was annoying, but I quickly got over it because I then realized that I was now in the situation that I wanted. I didn't know anyone. I had no friends on this trip. I was completely alone. And it was that feeling that eventually led me to the most inclusive and accepted feeling I'd felt in a long, long time.
Side note, I'd spent the prior year on campus being an RA at NYU University. The dorms at NYU are unique because they are essentially apartment office complexes, and all the fraternity and sorority houses are located in one dorm. The one where I was an RA. And the worst frat house was the Jewy one, AE Pi. And guess who was taking over one bus on our trip, and then guess who got put on that bus?
Oh, I want to guess. Was it you, Jake?
Winner, kosher chicken dinner goes to actor.
Jake and I took separate buses. We took the subway together to the airport. Maybe we should have been on the same bus. Maybe it's okay if I'm totally alone. Maybe I want to be totally alone. It's kind of nice not to worry about who's fucking whom. Because I didn't know anyone on my bus, I was paired with 2 other guys for room assignments who also didn't know anyone on the trip. Ben and Dustin. Ben was ultra-Orthodox who wanted a spiritual experience going back to Israel, and Dustin was a not super religious guy who wanted a free trip to Israel, Hebrew Academy, Jewish day school, and me. The first night we went out, Dustin bonded with a group of girls who made it their business to find a lot of liquor, and I tagged along. Dustin and I split a bottle of really shitty vodka, and we found some even shittier juice, and we got drunk, and then we were friends. And I wasn't just friends with Dustin now, I was now friends with this group of girls, which meant certain benefits.
Ooh, benefits, eh?
No, not those kind of benefits.
That's for you.
What was, I didn't hear, what was that, water pitch?
I didn't.
Oh, sorry. I just asked if you wanted to move me across town, buy me dinner, and then not make out afterwards.
A day or so into the trip, the girls wanted to find some weed. And it turns out, if you are a cute American girl in Israel, you can pretty much get whatever you want whenever you want it. One night we were out at dinner, and one of the girls just asked the waiter if she could find some hashish. Guys were throwing themselves at us, trying to give us pot. So then our group became the group that was on the trip that was drinking and doing drugs. I was with the cool kids. I was with the bad kids, and it felt kind of nice. I mean, I knew we weren't doing anything really bad, but
No one on the trip knew me, so no one knew that I was a good kid, and I figured why not just embrace being a bad kid for once?
The first 72 hours of my birthright trip were a living hell. While Asher and his bus were discussing the finer points of culture, religion, and politics with his cool new friends who smoked doobies and whatever, I was subjected to the reason anti-Semitism exists. This was my first time out of the country, my first time traveling alone, and it was like I was back at Camp Newman summer camp all over again, everyone laughing about their penises because they finally had a purpose. My bus had a few non-Greek-like citizens. There was Yoni and Magda and Gabi, all of whom seemed not eager to make friends, so neither did I. Instead, we sat in stoic silence and resentment, as our ancestors had done, enduring torture very stoically. Our blank, stony faces could not cancel out the chants coming from the back of the bus, though. Cheers for nothing in particular. Primal grunts barked in the back of the throat. A-E-Pod! A-E-Pod! A-E-Pod!
A-E-Pod! Rufio!
Jake, that's good. We can.
Yeah, so nearly every guy in the group decided to remove his shirt at this point and keep it off for the duration of our first journey on Birthright, an Israeli winery, because we all wanted to know how Manischewitz was made and where it comes from. The frat guys purchased so much wine, as much as they could carry, and immediately started drinking it on the bus. Our Birthright liaison, a blonde American girl who just finished her freshman year and was supposed to have some sort of authority and control on the situation, was the first to do a Manischewitz bong rip. This would continue into the night, where we would visit some historical site of some significant meaning, but I couldn't tell you what it was, because I was holding this little freshman's hair back on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, Israel, watching gallons of ruby-tinged vomit mixed with rivers of piss that were coming from 10 AE pyres who were urinating uphill from us, covering all the sacred holy land our ancestors walked over, a land that people fought and gave their lives to live on, and where I was now standing in a puddle of human bodily fluids. With God! Oh my God! And I couldn't help it. I had to say a prayer out loud, the one I'd said a million times in shul, but never in such a spiritual crisis as this.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu.
Oh, hero Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one.
Adonai Echad.
The Lord our God has given us this land to piss and shit on.
I don't actually think that's how it goes, Jake.
These are your people.
My people.
I have no connection to them, to the land, to you.
To us. Until this point in my life, I had never done drugs. I was never against drugs in the sense of being above everyone else and feeling like drugs ruined your life. I just never did them. Not in high school, not in college. It wasn't because I thought it would make me bad, but I wanted it to be my decision to do it if I was going to do it. I was just never put in any sort of situation where I felt comfortable. If anyone had ever offered me drugs, it was always like,
Asher, do this right now or you won't be cool!
Which I have a pretty adverse reaction to 100% of the time. I have an adverse reaction to anyone telling me to do anything, really. I want to feel comfortable making those decisions on my own. Except, I guess if I'm dating that person. The first night that we had hash, they started rolling joints. We were sitting around. I was playing out in my head what I would say and what would happen. They'd ask if I wanted any, I'd say no, I don't do that, and they'd laugh at me and I'd have to find new friends on the trip. I'd say no, I don't do that, and they'd say that I was a loser, or say that I had to, or they'd say that They'd only like me if I did it. We sat around, they rolled the joints. No thanks, I don't do that. Okay, cool, no problem. Just like that. There was no drama, there were no conversations, there was no justifying anything, no lessons, it was just comfortable. The more we hung out, the more they smoked, the easier I felt. I actually felt more at ease not being high. I felt at ease not being the center of the hurricane. And after the first night, they never asked me again. Anything that I would do at that point would be my decision, not anyone else's. Maybe I could be a bad kid? Is it really that bad? I don't think so. And I stopped thinking about it in terms of good and bad and just thought about it in terms of feeling okay with the people around me.
Upon returning to our accommodations for the night, I asked the rabbi leading the trip if he could transfer me over to Asher's bus, who seemed to just be having the bee's knees of the time. Now, this was strange for me. I would usually never make such a request, it seeming so bold and brash for me to do so. I hadn't called my parents because I didn't have anything positive to say. I contemplated keeping my anger and frustration bottled up within me just so I could mope about it once I was back in the States, and that's usually what I would have done, but the Spirit had moved me. And I was not going to make my grand finale with the Lord our God, King of the universe, into a shit show. And to my surprise, the rabbi granted my request, finally, on the third day of the trip. Yoni, Magda, and Gabi scowled as I grabbed my things and was welcomed with loving arms onto Asher's bus. This was a huge turning point for me. For the first time in my adult life, I actually took action to change my situation, to try and make this marriage thing with God work. I knew it wouldn't, but instead of being a vacation straight out of hell, it became a honeymoon in reverse.
There was dancing on the rooftops of Old Jerusalem, swimming in the rivers outside the Lebanese border, four-wheeling on the Golan Heights, and moments where we were just alone, reflecting. The relationship had run its course. No one tried to save the other. It was just time.
The night that we were going to the Bedouin camp, I went to Dustin before we left and I said, when you go off and smoke hash, I want to come and I want to try it. He just slapped me on the arm and said, awesome. I want to be bad. I want to be comfortable. I want to do this. We went to the camp. Everyone was singing and dancing and drinking. And then we left and we went off to the side of a hill or a small mountain. We sat there. We looked out onto the desert, the camp, the sky, the land, the beauty and majesty that was in front of us. We rolled a joint. When it got to me, everyone knew that it was my first time. And my friend Andy, one of the Joelle, said,
So you just take this and inhale.
And I did. Everyone clapped for me in celebration. And then a few of us went to the top of the hill and we talked about space and stars and our place in the universe, and it was magical. I know that it's a cliche conversation to have when you're stoned, but at the time I didn't know. I just thought we were free-thinking, wonderful, intelligent geniuses. We went back down to the camp and everyone was still dancing and drinking, and off on the side I saw that there were some Bedouins who were smoking hookah. I walked over to them and in my broken Hebrew and in their broken English, we sat and talked and they refilled the hookah every time it ran out. We did that for hours. People came over and they sat and we talked and we smoked and we just sat there. We were there without purpose. We were there without consequence. And at one point, someone came over to me and asked me,
How are you doing?
I didn't know how to respond. I felt at ease. I felt calm. I felt like I was finally myself. I felt like I was finally gaining control over something, over anything.
When we visited the Holocaust Memorial, one of the few trips the two buses took together, the rabbi asked who would like to say Kaddish, the prayer for those who have passed on to the life that is beyond this life. Again, almost not knowing what I was doing, I I stood in front of everyone, and I said the prayer I'd said 1,000,000 times before. But this time was for 6 million people I'd never meet. Would never have any real connection to outside of a religion and a God that had both moved on to greener pastures. But in that moment, I realized it wasn't about me. Nothing was really about me. It was about this time, this space, and focusing on just feeling a connection, because I honestly did feel some cosmic bond with all 6 million of them, and 6 million more.
The whole thing wasn't a big deal to the whole world. It was just a big deal to me. It wasn't something that required a map to figure out. It was just me that was on the map. It wasn't a life and death situation. There wasn't anyone I had to consult with. I could finally just do something for myself. All the lessons that I've learned, all the friends that I've helped, all the things that I've done to help other people, people that I've known and people that I'll never know, for all the chaos that I can sift through and ignore and maintain focus through, I've never known how to look out for myself. Just for myself, not for anyone else.
I can't explain it to you.
For my friends.
To myself.
For my family.
To anyone.
For my chaos.
Or anything.
For the first time in a long time, I was in that moment just for me and no one else, and that was okay.
On that mountainside stoned, I was looking out for myself. Just for myself.
I said Kaddish, stumbling over my words out of stage fright, but no one corrected me. No one said anything except for Neely, the girl I should have kissed but didn't. I'm glad it was you who said Kaddish, Jake, because now we can all move on. She was wise beyond her years. I felt an extreme wave of release wash over me. I was always going to be a Jew, whatever that meant. And it wasn't wrong, and I wasn't right. It was just me, present for this moment, that I could hold on to for as long as I wanted, no strings attached. Now we can all move on.
And we did.
God.
Me.
All of us.
All of us.
We had our holy moment.
In a holy land.
And then we ventured out into the universe.
To find the next one, and the one after that.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Back when I used to get real pay, and I could afford to drink where I want. I went to the same joint every day with my businessman pants on.